Good morning. Sorry, Ev's a little tall. We're a little shorter crew, so I'm going to have to lower the mic a little. My name is Delcia Harbor, and as Ev said, I'm actually one from Trinity Lutheran Church in Casa Grande. And just a quick background on our involvement on drive-through prayer. So Trinity Southern Baptist had started this almost 2 years ago, and last summer, my pastor, who speaks a lot with Pastor Phil Calvert, asked me to go down and check out what this drive-through prayer was. So I went and met this wonderful crew and a few others, and kind of quietly packed up, said my bye, see you next week, and went over to my pastors and busted in the door and said, we have to do this. So that's kind of how addicting drive-through prayer is. First of all, thank you for having us. On behalf of all of us, we thank you for welcoming us, and for most importantly, even just considering hosting a drive-through prayer site, because it's so impactful in the community. It strengthens our prayer, group prayer. It just does so much positivity. So thank you for having us. Unfortunately, Pastor Phil Calvert, who is kind of the ringleader of it all, was unable to attend today. He had planned, but at the conference that we just hosted, a drive-through prayer conference, our first one last week, Pastor Calvert was invited to go attend a training for the disaster relief team, and so he unfortunately was at the same time of this. So on behalf of him, thank you, but he's unable to make it. So I kind of first just want to introduce this table here. First name's Ken. We have Sylvester, and Sylvester has a spouse who is now doing something in Tucson with the Gideons Women's Auxiliary, so she's not here, Barbara. We have Sue and Jack, and we have Mike Tillman, and his wife also is with Barbara doing a Gideon's Auxiliary in Tucson this morning, so they're unable to be here. And we have Kim, and then Mike has his family member here, Fred. I can't leave Fred out, so. Okay, so now, big question. How many actually know what drive-through prayer really is? Okay. Well, drive-through prayer is kind of exactly what it is. If you think, we have kids here, so kids, you know, drive-through McDonald's, drive-through Burger King, Starbucks, everyone has a drive-through, right? If you imagine that, that's kind of what drive-through prayer is. They're simply coming in with their vehicles, not getting out of the car. We approach the vehicles, do a prayer, send them on their way, and they drive right off, just like a drive-through window at a restaurant. So, how did drive-through prayer get started? Obviously, if you've gone online and you've done some research for a drive-through prayer, you know it didn't just start right here in Arizona. People kind of started it during COVID, but I can tell you how it got started here in Casa Grande with Trinity Southern Baptist with Pastor Phil Calvert. So in Casa Grande, I think it's been calculated, somehow Pastor Phil has a calculation that about 80% of those people that just drive around and drive past the church are unchurched, don't have a church home, or have fallen away from the church. And so he was standing along the side of the road, one of our busiest roads, Treckle Road, which is where the church is located, and just kind of watched the cars passing back and forth. And his mind thought, you know, I wonder what the lives are of these people that are in these cars driving past. So from a thought like that, and then he thought, I'll never know. He'll never know, because 80% of those drivers never go to a church. So they wouldn't come to his church where he could ask them about their lives. And he said at that moment, the Lord told him to set up a tent, stand out there, and pray. And that's kind of what drive-through prayer is. And then in, I believe, 2022, an author by the name of Rick Fisher, who wrote the book called Developing a Powerful Praying Church, came to their campus at Trinity Southern Baptist and met with Pastor Phil, and he gave him a copy of the book, The Developing a Powerful Praying Church. And if you've read that book or you've looked at it, you'll see that it's directed more towards pastors, for a pastor to read. Well, Pastor Calvert decided he's not going to just read this. He's going to read it with his church, his congregation, his members. And so they got together and they decided they were going to do a Bible study on this, developing a powerful praying church. Sue and Jack here took it on their own time and they created a study guide to go along with that. And so they had this Bible study. And after that, I don't know who the man was, but Pastor Phil had a conversation with the man from the church about, his thoughts and so forth. And that man said, let's do it. And it was a go from there. And I completely understand the let's do it, because that's the feeling that I had, when I went to their church to experience and came back to my pastor and I said, we got to do this, like now. We started in 2 weeks and I think July will be year 1 for us. So that's kind of the gist of how it got started in Casa Grande. Pastor Calvert then took it on and developed a website, drivetruprayer.com. And so no matter which way you Google it or look it up, whether it's THRU or the actual spelling of through, it will bring you to the site of drivetruprayer.com. He was also approached once about, areas where people don't drive necessarily and they just walk. And so if you Google walk through prayer, it will take you to the same website. It will take you to the drive-through prayer. And I mentioned that because at our sites, we can say we're a drive-through, but we have people on bicycles going by, we have walkers going by, and so it's really anyone that wants to come through. Sylvester here is known for getting anybody that crosses our path. You will turn and see him in prayer with someone as we just all good morning, and they kind of, no thank you, they hit Sylvester, and then Sylvester's got him in prayer. So whether you're walking or driving, it works. Okay, here, after all of this, it's strange because now so many churches, do we have a count, guys? How many are on the drive-through prayer site yet? I should have, okay, at least 12. And some of those that attended the conference just a week or two ago went back home and kind of connected in. They've been doing some type of drive-through prayer, and they've connected through drive-through prayer with all of us. So with all of that, here we are, and now 2 churches here that are possibly, First Baptist is starting the 17th, and then your church is considering it, correct? Okay, all right, so drive-through prayer is really just that. It's people in your community literally driving through. You guys have a great location here, and that's all it is. People on their way to work, on their way to school, dropping the kids off, getting a coffee. We hope that you are able to set up and just let them know you're here for prayer. All those driving by, it's such an honor for a drive-through prayer that God puts us in the position to be able to do his work, what we're supposed to be doing, right? Jesus was on his knees praying. Disciples were praying. We're to pray, right? We're supposed to come to the Lord in prayer. And drive-through prayer allows us to be able to do just that. Until the people, the 80% that are unchurched or fell away from church, until they have reason to come to a church, we are kind of being that model. We're being the model in prayer to show them that just come to the drive-through prayer. We help you to introduce your problems to God. That's all we're there for. Now, you must be wondering how it all works. Rather than me stand up here and give everything, a few of us are going to come up and talk about how drive-through prayer works, and then at the end of it, kids might really like this, we have a little skit that we presented at First Presbyterian Church to recruit volunteers, and so we're going to run you through a quick little skit, and you will be able to see how easy drive-through prayer is. Drive-through prayer is not something that you really need big training. I mean, just a little gathering like this and so forth is great, because it's not something that is, it's not a program. It's not something that you have to receive this training in order for you to do this and process. It's if you can pray, if you can open up your heart and talk to God, then you can do drive-through prayer. It's that simple. Another thing I need to mention is that drive-through prayer, Pastor Phil wanted to make sure that drive-through prayer, you're aware that it's not owned by a church. It's not owned by Trinity Southern. It's not owned by he doesn't want it to be owned. Contradictory to that, we kind of all want to take ownership for drive-through prayer. This is something that is just neutral, non-denominational, that not one church is just running it. All the churches, we are the church. First Presbyterian has a motto on some of their old shirts that we as drive-through prayer picked up and we kind of use a lot. On the back of their shirts once we read that it said, "The church has left the building." And that is true. That is true with drive-through prayer. We are not in one building. We are the church. We are the people. And if we can stand out on the side of the road and show people that just by pulling in, come to us. We're not knocking on the doors. We're not pushing drive-through prayer to them. They see us, they pass, and we know it's the Holy Spirit that drives them in, but the funniest thing to hear sometimes is when someone finally does turn in, you'll see the cars and you'll be able to recognize, oh, there goes the blue Mustang. Oh, there's the black lifted truck. Here's the orange, wagon. You know these cars going by, and when they finally decide to turn in and they say, I don't know why, I've seen you guys out here, and I decided to come today, we kind of giggle and go, we know who brought you in today, but that's okay, we'll take it. So it's not owned by one church, it's everyone's. Drive-through prayer is just everyone's. Of course, there's also another requirement of the church or to be a drive-through prayer host. And that requirement is you must be Bible-believing, you must be Christ-focused, and you must be passionate about prayer. Is there anyone in this room that doesn't meet that? No. So you're ready to go. And those are the requirements because we take our problems to God. We are helping the community introduce their problems to God. That's it, to the one God. Excuse me. Okay, so by taking the prayers to God, we know that God can answer prayers, and this is a way to help those who are unchurched or fallen away from God. So on that note, I am going to turn it over to Jack, who's going to kind of give a rundown of what we have going on here, and then he'll kind of pass the mic on, and we'll hear a little bit from each individual here before we present the skit. It's all right.
Yeah. Hi, y'all. My name is Jack White, and right up front, Elsie told me yesterday that he said us had about 2 to 3 minutes. So I figure between 5 and 10, I will ask for forgiveness. Thank you. Drive-through prayer. I'm going to kind of modify something Delcia said, so I'll start out with forgiveness anyway. You mentioned all you need for drive-through prayer is to be able to pray and, pray with people and stuff. Nah. I'll tell you right now, that won't help you a whole lot when you do drive-through prayer. What we have learned the hard way is when somebody drives into that driveway and you go to that window, there's no way you're going to be prepared. You want to learn how to trust God and trust the Holy Spirit? Do drive-through prayer. Because the right words will come, the right attitude will come, and you'll touch somebody's heart, and you won't even know for sure what you said sometimes, but they will. And if you think I'm kidding, we had a few weeks back, lady drove in, got out, she was there for prayer, and spoke nothing but Spanish. Usually we have a Spanish speaker with us, but we didn't that day, so one of our ladies just went and prayed with her. We don't know today what that lady heard, but she cried, she hugged us, thanked us all the way out the driveway. God knew what to say. It's a very different and very simple way to touch people's hearts. and we're really blessed to be a part of it. This stuff, this is everything we use for drive-through prayer. We have two of the big signs, two of the drive-through prayer signs, and a few more cones. Other than that, and one more flag. This is it. This is what we work with. And we have done it with nothing literally but a couple of chairs and two people. So the stuff helps, but all you really need is you and a heart to share with someone. A couple things that are kind of important that I'm going to mention. In front of you, everybody should have a copy of this. And this is a list that'll give you everything and more that you really need to do drive-through prayer. I'm sorry. Okay. This has, it seems simple because drive-through prayer is simple. But there's a lot of information here, and it's everything we do with drive-through prayer. The stuff here, you guys get a chance later. If you want to come up and take a look, please do so. A couple things that are kind of important that folks don't always think about. Whatever you're doing, we live in Arizona, be sure you have water with you, both for you and for folks who come in. Sometimes it can be real important, even when it's not hot. We have a very dry climate, and people get very thirsty. Another thing is the name tags. We have these subtle ones for some of us, but I keep a little setup like this. You type a copy off that has name. You just peel them off and put people's names on them. It seems like that's not important, but when we go up to somebody's car, 5 times out of 6, that person is going to say, "Hi, Jack," because they see the sign and you immediately have a connection with them. You're not just that guy or that lady standing out there that they don't know. You're Jack or Bill or Ken. It can really make a difference. Some of these little things people connect with. We pass out the Bibles and stuff. Got a little folding aluminum table because I got tired of trying to stick one of those great big long tables, that office table business meeting things, in the back of my pickup to take somewhere. Just a lot easier. A couple folding chairs are handy. We have been fortunate because, as Delcia said, we started out just doing it out of the parking lot in the back of our church. And so far we have been invited and done drive-through prayer at the county fair. We've done it with Salvation Army when they gave out Christmas stuff. We've done it at our city hall for National Day of Prayer. So we like to stay mobile. We're getting to use it in places where I didn't even realize you could do prayer. That really sums up drive-through prayer. It's that simple. As Dulcia said, you go out, you wave, people drive in, and I can't tell you how many times when we had the conference, I was out just directing traffic and helping people find where to register and stuff, right? Middle of the afternoon. Saw a car drive by, and it got down to the light just down the street. Lady does a Huey, comes back, pulls in, stops. "Can I help you?" And she says, "Well, is this drive-through prayer?" Well, registration's down here for the conference. And she says, "No, I just need prayer. Can you pray for me?" Well, of course I turned her down. We stopped, prayed right then and there. She was having struggles just because of everything going on in the world, couldn't sleep. She was going to sleep that night. You will experience things you haven't experienced before with drive-through prayer. And I think if I can leave you with anything, I hope that we share it all the time, and I can't explain it to you until you've done it. But I promise you, I'll guarantee you 2 things. you will have with drive-through prayer. One is God will give you what you need when you need it, and you walk up to that car, and the right words will come out of your mouth, and you will bless somebody. The other one is every time you do that, you're going to be blessed. And we walk out on Wednesday or Saturday, and I haven't done that for an hour or two, and out there waving, and we're just jazzed. It's a simple thing, but to me, it's just been so powerful. And we have been blessed. We work with other churches. The first thing that struck me about this was it's got nothing to do with denominations. I don't care what denomination you come from. If you believe in Jesus and you can pray and pray to Him in His name, we're ready to go. So I hope you guys will at least give it a try, because I can promise you'll be blessed. And with that, I'm going to shut up and go ask for forgiveness and pass it on. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, and Jack reminded me, as far as our campus also, we were setting up for sunrise service on Sunday, and it was only 6:30. Mind you, we're normally setting up 6:30 and start at 7. Actually, it was earlier. Service was at 6:30. So it was about a little before 6, and this DPS officer pulls in and wants prayer, just because he's so used to seeing us out there every day, and because we start at 7, he's usually getting on 7. So he was able to drive in, and can I get a prayer? On that note, I'm going to ask Sylvester to come up and share a few things. Jack ran us over, so you only got 30 seconds.
I do a lot of ministry in Mexico, and I normally run on Mexican time. So, folks, you know what to do. Thank you, Ev. You know that I really want to share something with you first of all, before I even get started anywhere, and that is asking you this word, meaning of this word to you. What do you understand to be consistent? The word consistent. Anybody? Pardon? The Lord. He's consistent. Being faithful. Being faithful. You know, that's probably the most important thing about drive-through prayer is consistency. Lord just put it on my heart just while ago, because you know that's the policeman drove up. Okay, why did he come up there? Because he sees us consistently being there. I was there on day one, Jack. We were there on day one when we started. And as Jack can tell you, we have been consistent because our congregation does the drive-through prayer on Wednesday. Okay? We started on Wednesday, and every Wednesday we're there, rain or shine. And if you get an opportunity to go through drive-through prayer and look at some of the photos, and maybe, I don't know if there's a video or not on that, but the photos, and you'll see the photos show where they're rain, shine, hot, and as you well know, we had 2 years ago, we had, not only was it cold, but it was very wet. You guys remember that. You'll see us out there. People, through that rain and that cold, were stopping for prayer. Okay? When do we not need prayer? We always need prayer. How many of you need prayer? We all need prayer. We all need prayer because we all have situations. We all have situations in our life. So we need prayer. You know, I want to tell you that just like, and Delcia, you know, pointed this out too, that, you know what? Because we do need prayer, you're going to find people that come in and they have situations. I remember one young man that went by like four times, and he finally pulled over into the feed store down the street from us, and he said he stopped, and he sitting there and said, "Why? Why am I doing this? What's going on?" He pulled back, came in, and asked for prayer. What can we pray about for you today? He said, "I'm not really sure, but I'm getting married in just a couple of weeks. I think I need prayer." So, you know, we all have situations. And folks, the main thing that I want to leave you with is somebody prayed for you sometime, right? And there may be somebody praying for you even today. Okay? So why not make yourself available? Be a tool in God's hand that He may use you to bring somebody up before the throne of God. Raise them up. Be a blessing to someone. You will be blessed. Amen?
Thank you, Sylvester. I have to give a shout out right here. These three gentlemen, Mike Tillman, Sylvester, and Jack, they've been doing it since day one, and they are so helpful at every campus, at their campus. They're just like great guys to keep this going and keep everyone going. So on that note, Mike's going to come up and talk about Gideon's.
Well, we talked earlier about what we do when they come through drive-through prayer. A lot of people don't go to a church. A lot of them don't have Bibles. So we're getting, so if somebody needs a Bible, we're going to find a way to get them a Bible. And I'm working with the Gideon International right now to make this a certified distribution place where any drive-through prayer, there's a Gideon there, they can get Bibles there. So right now it's not approved, but it will be. But as Gideons, we can give out Bibles. The other thing I want to talk about is your church family. Y'all that go to church now, you have your church family, people you meet every Sunday, you worship with, you have friends that you say hi to. Some of you know their names, some of you, well, I met them once, but you don't really know them. But with drive-through prayer, when you're doing this ministry with the people, you really get to know them, and your family really begins to grow. Because now I've got family members from a lot of different denominations right now that I never would have met except for drive-through prayer. And when they come through and they say, "Well, I've been thinking about going to church, but I don't know what church to go to." I don't care what church I'm praying at. I know this is a Bible-believing church, that's a good church. I don't care about the denomination. I say, "Well, you must have came in here for a reason. You're looking for a church, try this one next Sunday. See if you like it." You know? But if you don't grow your church family, be open to new people coming into your group and learning from them. I've learned so many from pastors of different denominations and members from different denominations. We figured out that our little differences don't matter. We're there for the main reason. We're there for God. And this is the way to grow your family. Don't pass on this, because you're going to miss a lot of enjoyment and meet a lot of good people that you never would have met in life if you don't do this. So just think about that. Thank you.
Thank Thank you, Mike. Yeah, Mike's correct. Through this little family that we have here, Kim just kind of mentioned to me that we have to remember that we say byes on Thursdays at our location. We go out to breakfast. And one thing that drive-through prayer does with the community, so on Thursdays as we finish, it's kind of the end of the week, and we're eating. And so we go out to breakfast, and 9 times out of 10, we're praying in Denny's. We're praying at Big House Cafe. We're praying at IHOP because they read the back of the shirt. The waitress will usually ask, is there anything we can pray for you for, and do a quick prayer. So it kind of carries out into the community a lot, and you just develop this community family, the family within drive-through prayer. It's just great. And on that note, Ken's going to come up and talk a little about fellowship and community. John here.
Hello, everybody. I am Ken Nolan. Some people call me Reverend Ken Nolan. I'm a radical minister. In other words, I go to a lot of different churches and work with them. When I got involved with drive-through prayer, it was through First Presbyterian. My wife heard about it and says, "You're going." So whoever, you got to get prayed for it sometimes. And it wasn't that I didn't want to go. I didn't really know much about it. So I went the first Tuesday to First Pres. And I met Sylvester, and I met Delcia, and Mike, and Mary, and Kim. God help us about Kim. She's got more spirit for Christ than I've ever met. And I've met a lot of people in my life and things. But this group, which I'm thinking your group will, and possibly your church, it's more of a family. It's not just a group of people praying. Like Delcia said, we go to breakfast sometimes. I don't always get to go because I do a lot of transporting people to airports and stuff. But I wouldn't miss this fellowship for anything in the world, because there's times I need prayer. Like Sylvester said, we all need prayer. The funny thing about this is that I am enjoying more than anything is there's all these people that drive by, and we get some people come in for prayer. And like Delcia said, sometimes it's like, oh, look, he's driven by for a month and here he comes in, or she's coming in for prayer. It's consistency. We had a gentleman come in at, I think it was First Pres. No, it was at your church, the Lutheran church, that came in, and he says, and I got the opportunity to go up because I'm usually one of the ones on the street waving, telling people. And we've had actually a lady that goes to First Pres, and she's had people stop on the highway right there on Cottonwood and talk to her. And she says, well, if you want to pray, you want prayer, well, come on in and I'll pray for you. And she'll walk up there. But we have had more people. I joined about 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago doing this. We got people waving, going by that don't come in, or some of them have. What made me laugh is all of a sudden we had 1 or 2 people beeping. Then 15 or 20. And a lot of these people don't come in, but they're recognizing, like whoever said it, maybe it was Sylvester, they know a lot of these faces. Oh, I just saw him over there Tuesday. Oh, Wednesday he was over at the Baptist church. Oh, over at the Lutheran church. The consistency. But the joy I get is when they finally come in and say, well, I don't go to church, or, well, we don't care. Like many people have said, we want to be able to pray for you if you need something prayed for. The most joy I get, and I laugh at some of these people, is they'll come in and say, I don't need any prayer today. I want to tell you, when I was here last week and last month, what God did for me, what God did for my family member, my friend. I'm trying to remember which one it was. And this lady started laughing. She says, I never dreamed about coming into somewhere in whatever one she originally came to. And we have some of them that come to almost every one of them, that group that comes in with those handicapped kids. And every one of those, a lot of times, right, want prayer for something. We don't say, well, sorry. We say, okay, what do you need? What do you need? And when that gentleman passed away, I think it was a few weeks ago, every one of these kids were sad because he passed away. But they asked to come in to drive through prayer, to pray for the family of this gentleman, and to pray for them to accept this and understand this. I was going to crack a couple of jokes, and the Lord said, no, the one about your wife is the best one. That she twists her arm and says, this is right up your alley. You love praying for people. You love meeting people. You need to go. And I was telling somebody earlier, Wednesday I said, well, she woke me up and I said, okay, well, I'll get it. She said, no, you got 30 minutes to get there. And I'm like, oh, she says, you're going, get out of the house. And I wasn't feeling good. But that's not me. I said, you're right, honey. This is what I want to do. This is what every one of these people that are involved want to do. We want to reach out and we want to pray for people. I've enjoyed, I've forgotten your name back in the back. He's been coming for the last month or more down there to pray with us, to wait with us, because he really has a heart to do this. And that's what you need, and a lot of people have said. You need the heart to pray. You need the heart to want to love these people. And whoever said it earlier, you have the perfect church, this building, where they can come right in the driveway, get prayer, go right back out, and never have to do a U-turn. In a semi, Kim, or anything. You can come in and leave. Please consider this and going on with this. You'll be more blessed, even though you think you're blessing people. You get the blessing of people waving at you, beeping at you. And we've even had one lady come by slow and say, God bless you. This is the best thing I've ever seen. So thank you. I'll go on to the next project here. Thank you, Dale. See ya. Love y'all.
Thank you, Ken. Okay. So because there's some kiddos in here, how many of the kiddos are excited about trying drive-through prayer? Yeah? Good. I'll tell you, I have a granddaughter, and she just turned 9. And so it's something that kids can do. Usually she's the one, when we're praying, she's the one who will send to grab a little trinket, if we have any. Little bracelets, because the kids really like giving them to the other kids. What we've done is I put out a message to our congregation, and all of us have it. If you don't have something like this, then you're probably the unique one. But everyone has a little cross that was given to them, a little card with a prayer on it, and it just sits on our shelves collecting dust. We don't want to throw it away because we know the meanings and what it brings us, but it's something that, well, what can I do with this? So I asked my congregation to simply go through your home, and if you have these crosses, necklace, rings, note cards that you want to put to good use, give them to drive-through prayer. And we constantly have things coming to us that we can give out and pass on to those that come through. So that's an option that you can do, and that's where the kids, like my granddaughter gets off for spring break, fall break, and the first thing she asks is there drive-through prayer? Because she's going to come and stay with me during the day, and she's now looking for, is there drive-through prayer tomorrow? What color? And I say what color because if you've noticed, we've kind of all came up here with different color shirts. Not that it's mandatory. I think Trinity started out with the blues and a turquoise kind of. My pastor and I, we decided, same thing, we got to get matching shirts. Well, let's make it bright. We were going for the green of the street signs, They didn't have the sizes we needed because remember, I wanted to do this right away. So we went with yellow. And then First Presbyterian got on and said, well, you know, we'll go red. And a church in Eloy, Enduring Faith, went with a neon green. And then if you saw Kim earlier, she kind of has the tie-dye. We kind of created the tie-dyes because those of us that have been bitten way back when we were all kind of getting together on this, we decided, well, if we don't want to remember what color, we're just going to make the tie-dye shirts and we'll just wear them wherever we go. And so that's how the tie-dye shirts came about. So, and that kind of brings me back to something that I wanted to originally mention. When you become a member, or you join Drive-Thru Prayer, you get on the map with Drive-Thru Prayer, your church will have access to being listed on the Drive-Thru Prayer site. So anyone that pulls up drivethruprayer.com, they're in the Chandler area, I want to see if there's Drive-Thru Prayer, your church will be pinned on that map. And so everyone knows. And then there's information about your church. You also have access to the logo. So if you guys think of anything fun to do with this logo, put it on something, let us know, because we might go, that's a great idea, we're going to do that too. We kind of created the gray jackets this past winter, the hoodies, because you know, it doesn't get too cold in Arizona, but it's cold enough for extended times. So we kind of decided to everyone buy a gray hoodie, and we put the logo on that. So the logo is given to the churches, and you can do what you want with it. There we go. Sylvester's being our model for the jacket. So. Yes, there is a family at Trinity Southern Baptist. They have how many kids? 6, 7, 8? 8 and 1 on the way? Yeah, 8 and 1 on the way. And that church is blessed because that family shows up and automatically they have a whole nother tribe for Drive-Thru Prayer. Such a blessing.
I had a note on that.
Yeah.
Just a note. We've got about 50 kids that are coming to Drive-Thru Prayer. So we talked to several of these. And we're working on the next putting together the curve so that we can involve the kids more and for those of us that tend to do this, if you have a chance, there's something so critical. We're on the I'll be sitting there and go, praying with someone, running through the other books. Standing there, they have got praying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as soon as we have that set up, we'll be sharing that on the website. It might be something else.
Yeah. Yeah. So kiddos, you can get involved in this too. Okay. On that note, we are going to do this fun. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Do you log the prayer requests without names, but just log the prayer requests?
Well, because this is something that's confidential. But of course, trying to get this out here. Hang on. Every site has just a simple notepad. We put by first name and then just the basic prayers. There's times where we get, prayers that are kind of, that person opened up to us, really, and told us, and it's like, do we really have to put all that business out there, or can we say, praying for the father who's incarcerated? Something that simple. So you kind of, who's doing the notes, kind of, use your mind a little, and if it's something very identifiable, or if they're a person of the community, you can ask, do you mind this? We usually end ours by saying, just to let you know, your prayer doesn't stop here. We send it through our prayer chain, through the church, and so you'll have our members praying for you tonight. And probably 9 times out of 10, if they know they're going to be identified and they don't want to be, then they'll say, oh, can I not use my name? And sometimes me as the person who types up the prayers for my church, if it seems that this is too personal and if it's a woman named Veronica, I'll put V. God knows who she is. So, Yeah, so good question though, because we do want to let them know that it is a private place, but with God, He knows, and sometimes they just open up to us. How many? In a typical day, I mean, you can go as low as 6. I'd probably say about 8 at least. Every site gets 6 to 8. There's been times we've had 23, and there's images where we're 5 cars to where the waivers, as we say, come from the street to come up because all the prayers are 2 at each car or 1, and we're going to kind of give you an example. Maybe we'll do that. We'll do the example, and then we'll see if there's questions after, because this might kind of answer a few questions. That's good. So anywhere from 8 to 13, 15 is average, but like I say, it can get up to 23, 5 cars deep. Okay, so we've kind of developed this little skit, and I'd like to invite the drive-through prayer team. We're going to walk through it. I'm going to kind of narrate, and they're going to be the actors, but this is really how drive-through prayer works. Ev and Harold, if you want to come up and join us, you're more than welcome to. You guys, or anyone who's done it. So we explained that you keep hearing people say, I'm a waiver, I'm a prayer. It's just because sometimes the distance of where your prayer stand is versus the street, it's a lot to run back and forth. So we have some people up praying, some people wave, and then you just switch or whatever you choose. Okay, so here's how it all works. Here's a quick preview of what you can expect to see at drive-through prayer. Once your team is set up and ready to start the drive-through prayer morning, you gather everyone as a group and open up the morning in prayer, simply like we did today. When done, you simply stand along the road and wave. Smile, wave. You don't want to be on the street kind of sad, you want to show them, we're happy, we're with God, we are excited, come to our church. Yeah, yeah, Kim paces, she does pace the road. Okay, when a vehicle begins to enter the parking lot, they may need some guidance on what to do. So you kind of just guide them and wave them. Believe it or not, it seems easy, but when they're in a panic, it's kind of, what do I do? What do I do? Where do I go? Okay, it's during this time that you will meet people who are very excited to see a drive-through prayer site and are eager to pray, but quite a bit of times we see people in some of their most trying times, where tears begin to flow, the expressions of lost hope, sadness, and confusion weigh heavy in their eyes and in their stories, asking for help through prayer. This is where we introduce their problems to God through prayer and simply pray for them, because we all know what Matthew 18:20 says, right? Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am with them. Okay, so now we do have people that say, I don't know how to pray in public. I don't want to be the one praying, and that's okay. When we do have that, if there's someone that doesn't want to, because praying aloud or leading a prayer is not very comfortable to you, that's okay. You can still help by being there and simply placing your hands on the others in support as they're praying. When prayer is completed, you simply let the person know their prayer requests will continue through the members of your church so they feel supported even after they drive away and continue on their day. Then you give a farewell greeting and wave as they drive off. That's simple. That's drive-through prayer.
Usually a bigger car.
Yeah, it's usually bigger. That's it. Yeah, the trucks do honk at us. Kim forgot her horn this morning. That's really it. You wave them in, they come in, you direct them, give a prayer, send them out, and go back to waving and doing it again. The drive-through ministry is so powerful and is a way to reach people of the community, especially those who have fallen away. I think we've kind of chatted about all that. So we hope that you guys do continue. I know you have a start date on the 17th, and I think a few of us are coming up. But I promise you, if you're in here attending this, come out and do exactly this with your team, and I promise you're probably going to say, when are we doing it again? When are we doing it again? And when you get to a point that you're consistent and you're out there a month and it comes the first time you have a doctor's appointment or you're just unable to make it, you're going to why did I schedule during drive-through prayer? And your whole schedule will start to revolve around this 2 hours of drive-through prayer. In our case, the 6 hours a week of drive-through prayer because we go to the other campuses. Okay, thanks, guys. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, questions? Okay. Mm-hmm. So the question was, Sylvester was the one who went to the car. Would he be the one to go to the table and write down? Usually, I think Jack does it mostly at his, but Jack can sometimes be pulled to prayer or something, and I'm usually writer at mine. Whoever thinks of it comes back. Everyone kind of knows to go back and check into the table. If no one's there to write, you simply get out and write a little note of what the prayer was about. Yeah, and then I thought the question was going to go this way. So usually, just as Bible says, if it's a male driver, usually the men will approach and go. If it's a female, then a female will. That doesn't mean that's how it has to be, that, oh, here comes a woman, come here and pray. You kind of work with what you have, and we do find out a lot of times, maybe it's the motherly nurture in us women, the soft hearts, that a lot of times they do want to pray with a woman that's going to be a little more gentle, a little more understanding. Not saying you guys aren't, but that's what we try. Men, women, and sometimes it's just everyone. You don't want to swarm the vehicle. We kind of did it for over-exaggeration up here, but you got to imagine being a person driving into a spot that you don't know and 10 people come up to your window where they're up here. And so kind of you learn to play it by ear. You know, oh, we too have this one, and the others just keep waving, and as the next car comes, because it will happen, 2 others will go to the next car and so forth.
We don't always just, there's only one person there. Somebody usually will come up, so there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
Praying for the person.
Yeah, rarely is it just one person at the window. We go in support, and you kind of, it's one of those, you really have to experience it, but when you approach the window, you kind of know who's going to do the prayer. The driver will connect with one person. Either you'll see that, oh, I know this person. Sometimes I know quite a bit of people in the community, and a lot of times I back off because I feel like they know me. It's not going to be that. Kim will take it or something. And there's times where we throw each other under the bus. I will admit that. It's like you're just out of it for whatever reason. You're on your phone. You put it and you go up and it's like, Kim, you got this one? And she's looking like, no, but yes. So you kind of just play it by ear. And as Jack said, God tells you what to say. Yeah, leave it open for the Holy Spirit.
I just thought about asking if we can hold their hand.
Yes.
You always ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ken's saying when they do drive up, a lot of times we do hand holding, especially when it comes to prayer. So it's a quick intro. Hi, I'm Delcia, and how are you? It's not just, hey, how can I pray for you? Be human and talk. Hi, you can see in the facial expressions, in the eyes. You'll know 9 times out of 10, ooh, this is a serious one, or oh, this one's full of joy, look. But then also there's times where that joy, the smiling face, hi, and the minute you ask, how can I pray for you? It all comes out. So it's just fun. It's exciting. It's an adventure every time, but it's all with love, and we're taking it in prayer to God, everything. Any other questions? Yes. Good point. Good point. So the question was, how do you handle delicate situations? And we do get those. And you said it your best. We're not psychologists. We're not here to say, oh, you need to go do this. The best thing you should do. you kind of just use your judgment. If it's something that's very detrimental, life-threatening, which has happened to us, where we all agreed this person made a statement. Kim and I are both retired law enforcement, and so alerts kind of went up that this person cannot drive off. So we kindly asked her to pull in, and we had to call paramedics because it was a threat to her own life. And so you kind of, if they're telling you things that you're alert, those little senses are going off, to make the best decision. You get a lot of marital things. We know what the Bible says, and that's something that we say a lot. But again, we're not here to judge them. We're not here to say, you have to do this. But we do tell them, in our prayers a lot, we'll say something like, Lord, we know you have brought man and woman together in marriage, and unfortunately, we mess it up because we are simple in nature. And so we pray for this person, but we're not there to judge. That's very important. The delicate, you just kind of play it by ear. If it's too delicate, depending on what the delicateness is, you just kind of play it by ear. If it's life-threatening, something that's not safe, you use your judgment and alert, call whom you need to call. We do have that. I don't know if I know we have it here. I don't want to look through it, but we have a need help form that we grabbed from the city that has housing assistance, food assistance, homelessness, shelters, abuse numbers. So we have things from the community that we can give to them if they're looking for assistance. We get alcoholics that come through and they're like, I need help. I can't say, okay, well, here's some numbers you can call. And it just kind of works out. Jack said, someone said it, the Lord just puts in your heart, in your mind, what you need to do. And usually we have what that person needs at that time, that family needs. And if not, somebody here knows, oh, I just called so-and-so yesterday and they told me, tell this person to call this. And it just kind of works out. If not, we will help as much as we can without going into the counselor position or anything like that. Yeah. Does that answer? Kind of? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great process to have. Yeah. 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 And you'll kind of start creating your own little lists of when someone came by and needed this help, and you have it for the next one. Was there something you needed to?
No.
Uh-huh.
When you were asking about, you were mentioning.
I'll stand here.
Sorry, real quick. Yeah, when someone was talking about what do you do if, we have had so many instances of God just showed us what to do with. We had just one simple example, but it says it. Lady pulled in, several kids, hungry, no money, no food, etc., etc. Okay. No, wait, I got it reversed. Before that, one of our regulars who stops by almost every Wednesday and all the other days, stopped by. He goes to another church. In fact, he goes to a Catholic church, but he comes through for prayer every week. Stops, prays with us, says, I just want to help out. Pulls up in his back seat. He's got a couple of big boxes of food. Sets them on the ground and says, you guys give them to somebody who needs them. Literally. Next car drives in and it's a lady with the kids looking for a place to live. No food. Our pastor was there and he just picked up boxes, stuck them in the back of the seat and said, okay, you got food. God will cover it for you. We just have to listen to him and follow him. He's got us through things that we had a lady pull in who crying asking for prayer because she was on with her husband and they were contacting lawyers to get a divorce. Okay, we'll pray with you. And we did. Never said a word about divorce or nothing about she's going to go to hell because they were getting divorced. It was all just strengthening, reminding, praying for them. She drove out and they were talking about meeting that day to work out him coming back home and trying to work on the marriage. God will do it for you. And it will just blow your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can sit here and go story after story because there's so many impactful stories. I do want to leave on this one, and this whole crew knows, and even those of you that were out temporarily helping us, there's the van. This young woman comes with this van of adult, mental and physical disabilities. Okay, there's about 9 in this van. And she's been coming, she started at one site, then she went to the second, and then she brings them to all 3. Well, in December, we didn't know about this. She was losing her mom, and the van didn't come by. And at every site, did they come by today? And so we kind of got concerned. We didn't know what she was going through. But finally, the van shows up and has a male driver. And he pulls up, and his first thing said was, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, but they're all telling me I need to come. And so this group has now made it their morning thing to get up and go to drive-through prayer Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We now have developed a relationship with them. They do Special Olympics, and so we're in talks about helping out with the Special Olympics. But the director, I just got off the phone with him yesterday, and he said, oh, we've heard everything about drive-through prayer from them. So and you're talking, they're adults, but they are telling the drivers, we have to go to prayer. They came up Wednesday. They came up to the Valley Wednesday for a Special Olympics track meet, and they told the driver, well, can we go to prayer first? We have to go to prayer first. And she had to explain to them that we can't. She said, I thought about calling you guys, which we've done. We get people on the phone. I want you to pray with my mom. She's on the phone, and we'll do that. So it's just that is how much of an impact drive-through prayer has. That this entire van is going home, talking to their family about it, talking to their director about it, talking to other people in the home, and they make it their morning routine to come to drive-through prayer. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay. Anything else we need to cover, group, that we might have missed? Okay. Any other questions or concerns? Okay. We do ask, like Jack said, come and take a look at the booth. These are just some of the things we have out. Trinkets you'll find. And a lot of times we're just out giving prayer. We don't give anything out. But there's times where you get like nice little kids that are on the way to school, and we give them a couple cool bracelets or something, and give them 2 so they can give one to a friend at school or however we can impact. Thank you guys so much for your time. We appreciate it.